The film begins with beautiful young girl Louise working as an assistant to a magician. She is smitten by his charm, and he is smitten by her beauty. However, tragedy strikes when, during one of their performances, the magician appears to be invisible and never returns. Louise's depression worsens as a result of his disappearance. She believes he will return to her soon for some reason because he has the ability to turn invisible on command. Her depression progresses into hallucination and delusion, landing her in a mental institution. Louise goes into labor 9 months after the magician vanishes. Because no one knows she is pregnant, she must give birth alone. The baby who was born that night is unnoticed. His presence demonstrates that Louise is not hallucinating, but she is too afraid to tell the nurses. She knows that if people find out about her son's existence, he will become a subject of experiments, so she keeps him hidden. The nurses come every day to give her food and medicine, but they are unaware of the invisible child who lives in the room. Louise refers to him as Angel, which eventually becomes his name. She looks after him and raises him like any other child. She is seen patting his back, feeding him, and teaching him to speak and eat. When he is old enough, she teaches him to read using chalk in the wall. Angel enjoys playing with Louise's old dress and shoes because it allows him to see half of himself in the mirror. Louise tells him about her childhood home every night. Her father owned a cabin in the middle of the woods where she used to live. They used to take the train to a lake for vacation. It is Louise's favorite place in the world, and she hopes that one day her son will be able to visit it. She also wants to teach him to swim in the lake, but the prospect of him meeting the outside world terrifies her. Louise lights up rolled pages and places them on top of 2 slices of bread to resemble a cake on his birthday. Angel is oblivious to his surroundings and thus never complains. Angel matures into a bright 10-year-old, but he still refuses to accept his invisibility. His curiosity grows as he gets older. He gets on top of a chair one evening and looks out the window. He sees another human his age for the first time in his life. A young girl stands outside her house with her parents. Her mother assists her after she trips on a stairwell. Angel goes back to his mother's bedside and tells her about the girl. Louise is terrified that her son is becoming more interested in the outside world. She informs him that he is different from the rest of the world, which normal people dislike. As a result, he must take care not to be noticed by anyone. The comment has an impact on the child, but his interest in the attractive neighbor does not fade. He observes her frequently through the window and notices that she always plays the same 2 keys on the piano. He listens to it for as long as he can, hoping one day to meet her. Angel asks his mother one morning what it's like to see himself in the mirror. Louise describes the sensation as seeing yourself more than other people. Louise had always expected her lover to visit her and Angel one day, but after years of waiting, she has succumbed to depression. She hardly ever speaks to Angel anymore. When she leaves him, he becomes lonely and spends days drawing on the wall. The pretty girl from the garden in front of her house looks at him one day. Angel is worried and rushes to tell his mother, who turns away without saying anything. The nurses later bring Louise out of her room. Angel takes advantage of the opportunity to run outside unnoticed. For the first time in his life, he walks on the grass, away from the cold marbled floor. A few minutes later, he finds himself in front of the pretty girl who is swinging. She senses his presence and invites him in. A stunned Angel asks if she can see him and discovers she is blind. Her sense of smell and touch are enhanced, so she can sense his presence nearby. Angel, who has never seen himself before, believes he is seeing himself for the first time. The young lady introduces herself as Madeleine and shakes his hand. Angel becomes nervous after they talk for a minute. Before he runs away, Madeleine makes him promise to return. She has no friends due to her disability, so conversing with someone her age is as enjoyable for her as it is for Angel. He returns to the nurse's station and lies beside his mother. Louise has stopped smiling completely. Angel informs her that he has a girlfriend, but she remains silent. He returns to see Madeleine as soon as possible. She touches his face and sees him clearly in her mind. Angel also tells her that he observes her from the window and enjoys listening to her play the piano. Madeleine laughs because she only knows how to play in 2 keys and has never played a melody, even though one of them is invisible and the other is blind. The 2 play hide and seek for hours. Soon, the 2 are inseparable, and Angel spends the majority of his days with her. They take a step forward and kiss one day. Because she can feel Angel's gaze, Madeleine can tell exactly which part of her body he is looking at. Angel is overjoyed in life, but it doesn't last long. Madeleine reveals that she will be able to see after undergoing eye surgery in the coming week. She is the most excited about finally seeing Angel, but he is not. They spend the next week together before she waves goodbye from her house. Louise speaks for the first time in months that night, inviting Angel to sleep by her side. She also asks him to accompany her to the cabin in the woods if anything happens to her. Angel will have died by the time she wakes up in the morning. The news is too much for the youngster to bear. He stands there for hours watching his mother's body before the nurses arrive and take her away. They also take her belongings and the writings on the wall. Apart from Madeleine, Angel has only ever known the room. It's gone, and Madeleine will despise him once she learns the truth. So, without anything, he boards a train and travels to the lake his mother always mentioned. He imagines Madeleine emerging from the water, which only adds to his sadness. Then he boards another train for the trip to the cabin in the woods. He breaks in and takes a look around before falling asleep on the sofa and declaring it his home. Weeks become months, and months become years. Angel has matured, as evidenced by his raspy and manly voice. He's only talked to himself for years, but he still hopes to see Madeleine someday. Finally, she arrives at the cabin one day. Angel feels as if he is in a dream and can't take his eyes off her. He stands directly in front of her, but Madeleine doesn't notice him even with her eyes fully recovered. She spends the next 2 days asking people in the nearby town about him. She's been looking for him ever since she got home from the hospital. Madeleine was aware of his mother's existence, but the asylum had no record of his existence. As a result, she did more research on Louise and discovered the cabin. She also pays a visit to Louise's grave and leaves a letter for Angel that day. It says she's returned and invites him to meet her. Angel follows her and stays with her at the house without her knowledge. Madeleine feels his eyes on him frequently, as she did years ago, but she dismisses it every time. Angel, having had enough, writes her a letter back, saying that he misses her as much as she misses him and that they can only meet if she promises to keep her eyes closed. Later that day, they meet in the woods, and Madeleine, as promised, keeps her eyes closed. They return home together and sleep next to each other. Madeleine touches his face and inhales his scent, attempting to relive the memories they shared. His scent has changed slightly, but she can still identify him. After years of longing for each other, the lovers are taken aback by their sudden closeness. Madeleine is blindfolded and naked on the bed in the following scene. Angel inquires as to how she felt when she first regained her sight. Madeleine describes the experience as strange. She used to believe that the objects in the room only existed when she touched them. When she threw a bouncy ball against the wall, it would vanish from the face of the earth and then reappear when it touched her hand. But after gaining her vision, she realized the ball had always been there. Similarly, she discovered that many things in her room exist concurrently, not just when she touches them. Angel's existence is called into question by the profound explanation when he is not with Madeleine. They are in paradise for the next week. Madeleine wears a cloth over her eyes all the time and doesn't mind. They talk about their childhood and adolescence, and they fall in love for the second time. Then Angel takes her to see the lake, which has become his favorite spot over the years. Madeleine removes her blindfold and is captivated by the view. But all she really wants to see is her boyfriend's face. Angel kisses her behind the neck and promises to reveal himself at night. The night arrives, and he is in his bedroom, a sheet over his head. Madeleine promises to love him regardless of his appearance. But when she removes the sheet, she withdraws in shock. Angel tells her the truth, which she cannot bear. She sobs, making Angel feel like the most ugly person on the planet. He stays up all night watching her sob on the floor. He covers her with a blanket when she falls asleep on the ground. It jolts Madeleine awake from her slumber. She says she is willing to close her eyes for the rest of her life if it means they can be together. But Angel isn't interested. He doesn't say anything to her face, but he notices that she must be deafening. Madeleine wakes up the next morning and searches for Angel, but she cannot locate him. Instead, she discovers a note stating that he is leaving her life. He promises to love her forever, but asks her to stop loving him. After reading it, Madeleine sheds a single tear. She has finished packing her belongings and is about to leave when she feels something in her chest. It's almost as if she knows where Angel is right now. She realizes he went to the lake after closing her eyes and searching for his scent. Madeleine arrives on the deck and calls for him in the following scene. Angel knows he's nearby because of his scent, but she won't say anything. A splash of water is heard unexpectedly. Angel has fallen into the lake by accident, but he does not know how to swim. Madeleine leaps behind him despite the fact that she cannot see him. She finds Bubbles underwater after frantically searching for a while, and brings him to the shore. After a few rounds of CPR, Angel regains consciousness. Madeleine declares that this is the end of their misery, and that they will be together forever from now on. She promises to learn to see him with her eyes open as she did with her eyes closed. The couple appears to be living a happy life together in the following montage. They act like any other couple, playing, fighting, talking, and making love. When Madeleine puts makeup on Angel, they all laugh at the ridiculous result. She eventually becomes pregnant and gives birth to a visible child. The couple starts their own magic show, which quickly becomes popular. We see them swimming together in the final scene. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.